Welcome to Calculator Active. My name is Yemi Pearson, and today we're going to look at how you can use the TI-73 Explorer to find the mean, median, mode, and range of a data set. So the first step is going to be entering data into list in the calculator. And I've taken a screenshot of the button that we will use. And we will use the list function key as well as the stat function, which is second list. So first I'm going to cut the calculator on. Not sure if anyone has entered any data into list before this, but I will reset it. Second 0, 7, 1, 2. And then I'm going to clear my screen. So I will begin by pushing my list button. And if I've reset all the RAM, I should see L1, L2, L3 on the screen. And this indicates that there are right now 3 possibilities of lists. I'm going to arrow up so you can see. If you scroll over, now list 2 is highlighted, list 3 is highlighted. There is a list 4, a list 5, and a list 6. And actually a list 7. And you can change the names of the list if you want to, but there's really nothing important in regards to doing that. So right now we're going to enter the data that you see on the screen, which is a list of 7 math test scores. So I want to make sure that my cursor is highlighted on the first entry in list 1. And if you look on the bottom, you see L1 of 1. This means the first entry in list 1. So I'm going to begin by typing the first math test score, which is an 80. After I type that test score, I want to press enter. And now you see L1 of 2. So this means the second entry in list 1, that is a 75. I press enter. 95 for the third entry, enter. 90 for the fourth, enter. 80 for fifth, 65 for the sixth, and a 100 for the seventh entry. Okay, so right now I looked at the test scores. I see that there are 7. I know that I've entered 7 because my next entry would be the 8th one. Okay, so once you've entered that list, you have to return to the home screen in order to tell the calculator the functions that you now want to perform. So we're going to return to the home screen by clicking second and mode, and this is quit. Okay, so that data is still in the list, and let me show you and confirm that just by pushing list. You can still see that data there. Okay, going back to the home screen. So the operations that I want to do within that list are found by using the second list key. And this gives you your statistical operations. In some other videos, we'll look at how we're actually calling up the names of these lists, and we'll even look at that now for the mean and median and mode. That's what the L's stands for here. Let's scroll over to operations. These are some different operations that you can do with list. We're going to primarily, for this particular video, deal with the math functions under the second list or the stat function. So if you can see here, number 1 says min. This means the minimum for the list. Number 2 is max for maximum of the list. 3 is mean of the list. 4, median. 5, mode. And then 6 is standard deviation, and 7 is the sum. Okay. So first, we know that the mean is the sum of the values in the data set divided by the number of values. Okay, so let's say I want to find the mean of that data set. We pushed second list for the stat functions, and we arrowed over to math. And now mean is number 3, so I'm going to press the number 3. So it's saying mean, that parentheses means of what? So we want to find the mean of list 1. And if you recall, when we hit second list, the first option we have is a list of all the lists. And our data is in list 1. So I'm going to press number 1, and it calls up the name list 1. We want to close this up, and then we want to press enter. So the mean of that listing of math test scores is approximately 83.6. Okay. All right, now let's find the median. And we know that the median is a middle value in the data set when the values are arranged in ascending or descending order. So again, I'm going back to second list. I'm scrolling over to math, and I'm finding the median. So that's number 4. And the parentheses is there, cursor's blinking, and then saying median of what? So we're going to find the median of list 1 by calling that list name back up. Second list. List 1 is number 1. I can press enter, and then I can close the parentheses. So I see that the median of list 1 is 80. All right, next we're going to find the mode. And we know the mode is the most commonly occurring value in the data set. Okay, so second list. Scroll over to math. Mode is number 5. Mode of what? List 1. So second list. Number 1 for L1, close the parentheses, and press enter. So I know that the mode is also 80. What you will find is if there is more than one mode, you will have both of those in a set type there. And if there is no mode, then you will receive an error. So I will go back in the data set in a second and take out a number so you can see what happens there. All right. And so lastly, we know that the range is a difference between the maximum and minimum value in a data set. So if we go back to second list and over to math, we saw that minimum and maximum is also an option. So I'm going to choose number 2, and I want to find the max of, let's call up the list name, list 1, close that up. And from that, I want to subtract. Let's call back up the operation of minimum of list 1. Call back up the list name. And then press enter. So that's how you can find your range. We know, again, it's the maximum minus the minimum value for that list. Within this, you are also able to, let's say the question is asking just for the sum. Let's say they don't want the average or the mean. They just want the sum. So you can go to number 7 and get the sum of that list as well. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the list and do something a little different. I want to take out, let's take out the 80 since I know that that was, no, before I take that out, let's put in another 100 as a grade. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my home screen. Remember, we can't do the operations from here. I have to go back to the home screen. And I'm going to ask the calculator for the mode of this list now that I've added another value. So I hit second list, scrolled over to math. Number 5 is mode. Mode of list 1. And as you can see, the 2 modes are listed here. And the last thing I want to show you is if I go to the list, and let's say I want to take off the 100. I'm going to press delete for that particular entry. And I'm going to go up to the 80 since I knew that was the other mode. And let's delete this entry. And what it does is the list shifts the other values. So now I only have 6 values. I'm quitting and going back to my home screen, and this time I'm going to find the mode again. Now, the last entry I typed in was mode, and from another video I showed you how you could hit second enter to call up the last entry. Hit enter, and here it says an error, there is no mode. Okay, great. Whenever you can get an error, you can go to, and it takes you right there. The error is that there is no mode. Great. Thank you so much, and I hope you find this helpful.